In order to install and configure Direct Access, you need to first configure ADDS and DNS to support the installation. To prepare these components, you should perform the following steps. First, create an ADDS group for Direct Access clients. Secondly, add the Direct Access clients to the ADDS group. Thirdly, create firewall rules in a group policy object that enables both inbound and outbound ICMP v6 echo requests for all domain members. Fourth, configure required DNS records. And finally, configure the DNS server service to remove the ISOTAP name from its default global block list. The first step to prepare ADDS is to create a security group that will be used to apply Direct Access client computer settings to the client computers. When you configure Direct Access, group policy objects will be created and assigned to this group of computers. In this case, I will create a new group called DA Clients. Next, you need to add the Direct Access client computers to the ADDS group that you just created. The next step is to configure the group policy objects to configure the Windows Firewall rules. In group policy, we will configure Windows Firewall with advanced security rules that allow inbound and outbound ICMP v6 echo requests messages. These messages need to be sent and received to provide connectivity for Teredo-based Direct Access clients. By configuring this setting on the default domain policy GPO, the settings will be applied to all computers that are members of the domain. By default, Windows Firewall in Windows 7 and Windows 2008 R2 is configured to restrict both inbound and outbound traffic, so you need to define both an inbound and outbound Windows Firewall rule. In this case, I will create a custom rule that applies to all programs, but will limit the protocol to ICMP v6 and only the echo request messages. I need to create an outbound rule with the same settings. The next step is to create the DNS records that will be required for Direct Access. The records that you need to create will depend on your network configuration. In this demonstration, I will create a DNS record only for crl.contosa.com. This DNS record refers to the CRL distribution point that I will be configuring. When configuring DNS, I also need to ensure that the DNS records exist for all other servers that direct access clients need to be able to locate. In this demonstration, I'm using dynamic DNS, so records for servers such as NYC, NLS server, and internal web servers are already configured in the contoso.com domain. The final step in configuring DNS is to configure the DNS server service to remove the ISOTAP name from its default global block list. By default, DNS servers running Windows Server 2008 R2 or Windows Server 2008 use the global query block list to block the resolution of the name ISOTAP. To allow name resolution for the ISOTAP name, you must remove ISOTAP from the global query block list of the DNS server service for each DNS server on your intranet running Windows Server 2008 R2 or Windows Server 2008. By default, the global query block list contains two entries, WPAD and ISOTAP. By running this command, I'm configuring the setting to only include WPAD.